That's right. We're right here this morning. Penny's here this morning. Penny, how you doing this morning? Well, I'm trying to say hello, so I get a treat. Can you say hi? Say hi. Good morning, Greenwood. That's right. Penny goes, you got to start the day with some energy. She's just laying here in her bed going, this is fine. Do we have to do this every day? She's got a beautiful little dress on with with blue and pink and blue flowers for, what do you got to say? For today, for Monday. She's all excited to be here, sort of. And I want you to say hi again. Can you say hi? Hi to everybody. Yes, that's right. And are you glad to be here? Well, sorta. I'm here with you, so that's a good thing. Yes, you are, and I hope you had a good weekend. Penny and I had a very productive weekend this weekend. We saw, how many deer did we see this weekend? Oh, at least 20. I don't think it was 20, Penny. I think it was like two or three groups of 3 here this morning. So anyways, she wanted to chase the deer very badly. I said, no, we can't chase the deer. But they were definitely Saturday night. It definitely was Saturday night right here at WCRS. Did you have something else you wanted to say? Yeah, don't forget to tell them about my new series, Penny's Pet Peeves. She wants everybody to let her know what your pet peeve is, and then she's going to read them and play them or read them and speak them on the air. So if you send those to WCRS info right here on WCRS, it's Penny's Pet Peeves. Penny, what's one of your big pet peeves? Well, I think I should be able to eat all the time, and you don't seem to think so. In fact, yesterday you cut my lunch back a little bit. Yeah, I did. I'm afraid you might get, and we can't have that, because that dress just barely fits you. Well, I don't care. I think I look beautiful. You do look beautiful, Penny. You look so beautiful. Absolutely. So anyways, we are here with Princess Penny this morning. She's going to have her own part of the show. It's going to be Penny's Pet Peeves. So if you've got a pet peeve out there and you'd like for Penny to consider it as one of her pet peeves, what do you want to say? She's saying, let me know. Let me know. That's what Penny is saying this morning. Let me know. So, Penny. Here you go. Have a little treat, and we got to get busy with the show here this morning. Just thought we'd give her some airtime here this morning. She also has, I don't know if you've seen these, she has her own headsets, although so far she really hasn't needed, let's see, here we go. She hasn't needed them. Oops, where are they at? There you go. There they are. Those are Penny's headsets. And she said she didn't want to wear them this morning, so we decided not to wear them. But yes, they are Penny's headsets. All right, well, let's get started with the show. Penny, I'm going to let you take a little break here this morning. I'm going to take over. Is that okay? Yeah, if you give me more treats. All right, Penny, there's another treat. All right, what's happening in the world? Enough of this frivolity, Ann Eller. We have a lot to talk about here today. Well, it looks like this just came across the ticker desk. President Trump has decided, I find this amazing. But anyways, he's decided that he is not going to strike today. Today, the island there that has all their energy in Iran, he is not going to annihilate them today. They get to live, what is that? We get to live another day. Yes, that's what it sounds like here today. Trump delays strike on Iran power energy plants for 5 days, citing very good and productive conversations. All right, here's what I have to say. How many times has he said we've had very good and productive conversations, and then we don't have very good and productive conversations? I don't know what the answer is, folks, but I want to say this. I really don't think that delaying it 5 days is going to make a difference. They can say anything they want. We know they're liars. They never stay with what they're actually doing, or they don't tell us what they're actually doing because they're getting ready to do something horrible. So I think President Trump is just wasting time. If he's going to do it, I'm not a warmonger by any mean, but, if you're going to just destroy him, just go ahead and destroy him. Why give him 5 more days to do whatever? We'll see. The Strait of Hormuz is still not open, and I have no hope that they are going to open it. I'm not for war, but, the longer this thing drags on and, we're having good conversations, how long did we hear that with them? And they were steadily building bombs or enriching uranium. So they have decided to not do this for 5 more days. So what does that do? That puts everybody on pins and needles for 5 more days. 5 more days. Anyways, that's the latest that I've heard on that this morning. That was from the New York Post. I will say this. I'm moving on now. I'm not going to discuss this anymore, but if you have an opinion and you would like to share it with us, 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Please, my nose has got pollen in it. Let me know, 864-332-9355. They had a LaGuardia plane crash. That airport up there in New York is not going to be open till mid-afternoon. I think they said somewhere around 2 o'clock. I mean, the world, it was the weekend. Why can't we just have things be really quiet on the weekend? But anyways, that was another thing that went on. 2 pilots dead, 41 people hospitalized after an Air Canada plane crashed. I mean, we just have so much. Do you feel safe when you think about getting in a plane? I'm not sure I do. I mean, I'm glad a lot of people are still flying. 2 pilots dead, 41 people hospitalized after the Air Canada plane hits a fire truck when landing at LaGuardia, causing the airport to close. The whole front of the plane is where the pilots sit is gone. Air Canada plane smashed into a rescue truck at New York's LaGuardia, making that totally unavailable to be able to do its job because it was crashed into by this Air Canada plane. So these are the things that we keep seeing happening. Audio caught by the air traffic frantically trying to avoid the deadly crash, repeatedly crying out, "Stop, stop, stop." But there were 72 passengers and 4 crew members were landing shortly before midnight when it smashed into the truck, responding to an unrelated emergency. How about that? That is another disaster. So those are some of the things that we keep seeing and finding out about. It just is amazing. Just like Saturday night, Saturday night, late, 2 o'clock in the morning, we had a shooting right here in Greenwood. That's right. Over there at the Uptown Grill. Same place there was one where that girl was, a stray bullet actually killed that girl. That was several years ago now during the Blues Cruise Festival of Discovery. Don't know if they, God, my computer is gunked up. And if anybody looked at it, they'd say, no wonder, Ann. You have so much stuff open here. So much stuff open. Here it is. Yeah, where is it? Okay. This is Greenwood police investigate fatal shooting at Uptown Grill. That was early Sunday morning, late Saturday night. This is another horrific shooting right here in Greenwood. So a man was killed in a shooting early Sunday morning at Uptown Grill on Seaboard Avenue, according to the Greenwood County Coroner's Office. Knowledge Kuwain Shakur, 41, died at 2:11 March 22nd after suffering a gunshot wound to the chest. Greenwood Police Chief T.J. Shadone said the incident began inside the restaurant and moved outside where the victim was later shot. The death has been ruled a homicide. Greenwood City Police and the Greenwood County Office are continuing this investigation. I don't know if there's anything else on this. I haven't seen anything yet, but this is another horrible. I did see some news on not news, but people responding to the fact that it had been at Uptown Grill. Now this was just people saying that what a great place the Uptown Grill is, and they had good food, and that everything was always very calm there. So I just found that interesting at a time where we are looking at another shooting there. Actually, is this the third one? I know we've had two fatalities at the Uptown Grill. I just wonder what will come out of that. But that's another horrific thing to happen right here in Greenwood. So, what else do we have going on here? Well, the weather. I tell you, well, first, before I do the weather, I got to tell you about my weekend. This past Saturday, Lee, a friend of mine, and I went over to Blue Ocean seafood restaurant, and we had a nice time doing that. It was delicious, a great afternoon to be out, just kind of staying in the car, staying away from the pollen. I'm going to tell you what, the pollen is just crazy out there. The pollen is out there, and I think the pollen is trying to hook everybody up with a sexual explosion. I mean, if you look at all the pollen that's out there, and it's all floating around trying to find the appropriate mate, I mean, that's what the pollen season is about, getting things, I was going to say fertilized. Well, yeah, okay, getting it fertilized so that we can have more trees and more pine trees and everything. And you walk around out there in my backyard, and the pine trees have all these yellow things sticking off of it. You just kind of go, well, you're displaying your wares, aren't you, here, honey? So the pollen trees are definitely making a statement. And so let's go ahead and get the weather. Then I'll tell you a little bit more about what I did this weekend, because I had a good time. But let's check the weather. What is the weather? Feels 69 degrees. Feels like 69 degrees. We are headed for a high today of 84 degrees, a low tonight of 46. That's today, plentiful sunshine, a mix of clouds and sun, it actually says, high of 84. Tomorrow on Tuesday, however, we drop back to 60 degrees. Talk about extremes. That's 60, 70, 24 degrees less temperature. 60 degrees will be the high, low of 44 on Tuesday. Wednesday, staying right there in that zone at a high of 64, low of 49. And on Thursday, right back up to 80 degrees. And on Friday, up to 87. Saturday drops back down to 65 and a low of 39. So that's what you're looking at as we go into the last weekend the last week, the last few days of March. That's right. So what else did I do this weekend? Well, I had a good time. I've got a painting project I'm doing out back, so I did some painting. Everything went real well until Penny decided to come over and check out a bug that had just climbed on the slightly dry wall that I was painting outside. She went over there and checked it out. I decided I should get her out of there. I went to pull her with her collar to get her out of there. She steps in the paint pan, and then we now have Penny paw prints all over my bricks out there. Yes, it's true. So here I am trying to scrub it off, and then I said, why are you even bothering, Ann? That just adds more character to what we have going here. So then, of course, I had to get Penny's paws cleaned off with the paint and she'd gotten some on her hair. So there you go. But had a good time doing that. Played a lot of Frisbee with Penny, yes, and had many points where the deer were taunting Penny. So I had to hold Penny back from going after the deer. They actually look at her and say, you pipsqueak, what do you think you're going to do? Even if we just stand here and let you come over here, we'll just stomp on you. And she just goes, no, they won't, Mom. No, they won't. Let me go. Penny, you are just being so adorable here today, just being so adorable. Is that true about you and the deer? Yes, you really wanted to see the deer, didn't you? Yeah, I know. All right, well, anyways, I am Ann Eller. We are here this morning talking about stuff. We got a lot of things to talk about. We talked about that we've done the weather. We talked about the shooting in uptown Greenwood. We talked about the plane crash up there at LaGuardia. LaGuardia is supposed to be ready to open this afternoon. I want to talk about hemp, THC in the Senate. I don't know what they're doing down there. They make one decision, then they change their mind. One time they put it all on, they put it aside and they weren't going to do anything else with it. Then they decided to do something about it. So here you go. That's they can't make up their minds. But I do have the end result as to what they were doing at the end. So I want to talk about that. This could have quite disastrous effects, and depending on what the House does with this, you know, one of my questions is the House even going to take it up? But this is a bill that has gone back to the House. A year ago, the House had taken the hemp bill up and had a pretty, I would say, reasonable bill. Then the Senate got a hold of it. They were going to tear it all down, have no hemp products available. And then I guess overnight they thought about how much money they would lose or something, and they put it back on the table. So we're going to talk about that. I've got a story about Make-A-Wish and the amount of dollars that they raised. I thought that was really terrific. And I wanted to talk about what the Democrats are trying to do by pushing out Jermaine Johnson for their other candidate. They want him to not stay in the race. He, of course, is in the race for the governor for South Carolina, Jermaine Johnson. He actually is being pushed out by the Democratic Party, not by another candidate, by the Democratic Party. And they would like Billy Webster to take that role and have him drop out, so we'd only have, I guess, one candidate ready. Ron Reddy, that's one topic I want to talk about, the hemp products. Ron Reddy is poised to spend $6 million for this governor's race. And what happens to Doge SC if he does? And why is he doing this? He had a perfect platform, is what a lot of people are saying, and it is true. He did have a perfect platform with his Doge SC to force legislators to take a look at what they're doing and maybe make another decision, i.e., talking about the judicial. That was one. All right, so that is what will happen to WCRS. And is the governor's seat actually the seat that somebody that has a lot of power wants? Because it's basically an impotent position. It's a very weak position. Now, I think one of the questions to discuss, has the governor's position always been weak, or is it a position that has become weak over the years? I'm not sure which it is. But as far as having 3 equal parts of government, in South Carolina, the legislature wields the power. The governor is relatively weak, and because the legislature has the power to pick the judges, it really is not the legislature has the power to pick the judicial, the Supreme Court judges. It really is not as strong as divided power, because as we've just seen with John Few, if you're not reading the things the way the legislature wants, I guess it's guillotine. All right, in another story, a South Carolina professor is suing several lawmakers. One of them is one of ours right here in Greenwood. This had to do with the Charlie Kirk when that happened, and some of our professors went out and spoke out. She was dismissed from Presbyterian College or decided to leave. I don't remember. We'll check the story. And so therefore, she is now suing the four different members of the legislatures because of their comments and because of freedom of speech problems. So we'll be talking about that too. I also wanted to talk about the Ware Shoals Band. That's right, the Ware Shoals Band. Do you know, I think I remember this, but they won again. Now this they just did. They just won again for their band. And you know, they are trying to raise money, they are raising money to go to Hawaii, Tiny But Mighty is the title here. Ware Shoals Band plays it perfect. So who would think that a band that had 24 students could take to the stage at the Concert Performance Assessment, the CPA. The band delivered a performance that proved excellent isn't measured in numbers. The band's earned a superior with distinction, marking its 4th consecutive year of receiving the highest possible overall ratings. Isn't that great? I think that is so great. So this is the seniors that are graduating this year have something to be really excited about, to see that through the 4 years their band has consistently been in those categories. They are raising money. Their band leader, Christy Hodge, said that they are raising money to go to a parade in Hawaii. Students are working to raise funds to travel to Hawaii in December, where they will represent South Carolina in the 85th annual Pearl Harbor Memorial Parade in Honolulu. Isn't that terrific? I tell you what, I am going to get involved and see what we can do to help them raise the money, because I think it is terrific that they've been asked, and so they're raising the money to do that. They've got a busy spring season. They've got a lot of things going on top of that, but then they all are trying to raise money for the whole band to be able to go to Hawaii in December. the 85th annual Pearl Harbor Memorial Parade in Honolulu. So congratulations to them. So Penny, what do you think about that? I don't care. I don't care. Do you think I care about that? No. Are we going somewhere in the car? That's what I care about. Okay. All right. Anyways, I was out walking in the pollen this morning. As you can see, it's taking an effect on my voice right here. I wanted to share that story because to have a small school like Ware Shoals doing amazing things, I think is pretty awesome. Also, another story I'm going to try to get to. South Carolina versus Amazon. Amazon owes back sales tax. And interesting story there. So that's what we got on the agenda today. But don't let me forget, this is news breaking. Tonight, about 7:15. I'm going to give it a window of 7:15 to 7:30. South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson is going to be in studio right here at WCRS. He'll be coming back from a trip where he has been in Charlotte, I understand, today with a other attorney general's meeting, but he is going to come back through. He's going to stop in, and we're going to have about a 20 to 30 minute in studio interview. So here's the deal. Do you have a question for South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson? 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Would you like to have a question asked? And we will be doing that live on Facebook. And I think we're going to do it live on the radio because I think Lars Larson would understand that this was important. Then afterwards, we'll go right back to the Lars Larson show. But, congratulations that Ann Eller has gotten him in the building. This is going to be huge. This is going to be huge. So looking forward to seeing Alan Wilson. I haven't actually we've had him on the radio, but this will be the first time he will actually have visited our studio. So looking forward to that. All right, we've had some questions. We've had a few comments come in here this morning, not to be unexpected. I'll go ahead and take this comment. This one, of course, has to do with the first part of the show when I was talking about now President Trump has decided to give Iran 5 more days. What you doing, Penny? 5 more days. 5 more days to make up their mind whether they want to open the Strait of Hormuz for the Penny's on camera right now, to put them, here you go, Penny, to, let's see, where was I? Oh, yes, to whether he will bomb the crap out of their energy supplies or not. That's just the straight truth of it. He's decided, quote, they've had some good talks, so now he's going to give them more time. I just have to say this, that I am a little, Penny, okay, I am a little tired of this off again, on again. They struck Iran. I think maybe they've been a little surprised that Iran has fought as hard as they have. But why would you, if you made an ultimatum, why would you move the goalpost? Because, quote, they've been having some good conversations. They may be having some good conversations, but here's the thing. These good conversations, how many other times have we heard, quote, they'd been having good conversations, right? How many other times have we heard that? Quite a few. So I say, why drag this stuff out? I know somebody's going to label me as a warmonger. No, I just want this thing over. I don't want it to drag out. So that's what I have to say about that. Somebody else said that they thought it was great that, what did they say here? I just read it here a minute ago. They didn't want the war at all, so they were glad. What does it say? They were glad that he is not. Maybe he's finally come to his senses. Somebody else said, and I didn't know you felt that way about war. I don't feel that way about war. If you're going to have a fight, let's go ahead and get it over with so we can move on and get to the next phase, right? Why should we drag this thing out? Iran, in the end, we're going to have 5 more days of this back and forth. And Iran is saying this, and the United States is saying this. So if you're serious, just go ahead and, if you're getting rid of them, get rid of them. Why are we waiting? That's my question. 864-332-9355. 864-332-9355. I don't want our guys and gals ending up in the war over there. What are you saying, Penny? Okay. I don't want any of this going on this morning in this world. I would like it to be over. So that's why I'm saying, let's just go ahead and stop this right now. Let's get it over instead of, another week, and then we've got more stuff, and then we got to get more people in place. If you can do it, just do it and be done. I want our world back. I don't want people fighting and more wars and more time being spent on this. All right. Let's have a quick word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. When we come back, I want to talk about, I want to talk about the hemp bill. So stay right here on WCRS. What the Senate eventually did, after approving, not approving, making all these choices, they finally, some people say, came to their senses. Who knows? But anyways, we'll be right back. That bill will head to the House. Will they take it up? Becomes a question. How quickly they take it up. Actually, we're into May, first part of May. They're supposed to be finished session. So I question whether anything will actually be done on this bill. Hey, we'll be right back. Don't you go away, right here on WCRS.
Self Regional Healthcare is currently hiring for clinical and support staff positions. At Self Regional, we strive to create the best experience for our patients and our team members. We offer flexible schedules, competitive pay, and generous benefits in an environment that is supportive of your individual needs. Come see what makes Self Regional a great place to work. View our current job openings at selfregional.org/careers.
This March, share the love of reading with the Greenwood YMCA's Children's Book Drive. Donate a brand new children's book and help support youth development programs in our community. And here's the best part. New members pay a $0 joiner's fee. That's right. Bring in a new children's book during the month of March and we'll waive the joiner's fee. Already a member? Donate a book and receive a special bookmark plus entry into a drawing for a free gift. Help us celebrate reading, learning, and community all month long. Visit the Greenwood YMCA today and help put a great book into a child's hands. The Why. There's no place like this place.
The Greater Greenwood United Ministry Free Medical Clinic is here to offer you or someone you know a medical home. If you don't have health insurance and are not receiving Medicaid or Medicare benefits, please call 864-942-0500 and choose option 1 for more information. G-GUM Free Medical Clinic services include primary medical, internal medicine and gynecology, in-house pharmacy, women's health clinic, diabetic ed, laboratory, vision services, and disease prevention education. Again, call 864-942-0500 and choose option 1 for more information. Greater Greenwood United Ministry offering a hand up to those in life and medical crisis for over 30 years.
There's no place like this place anywhere.
Hey, did you see Bob? He just tried a yoga class, upside down.
And Jane just swam 10 laps while juggling her water bottle.
Somehow, I feel like I belong here.
You do. This is the Greenwood YMCA, where everyone's having fun and everybody knows your name.
There's no place like this place anywhere. Come join the fun and make 2026 the year you belong. At the Greenwood YMCA, there's no place like this place.
Oh, that's right. We're right back here on WCRS Radio. And what do we got going on here? We've got this bill. And this went back and forth. What happens with this THC bill? It's going to go back to the House, but the bottom line to this whole story is, what exactly is going on there? You know, it was kind of a little messy thing the way they put it together. The House passed a version last year. The House bill was much similar, no sales to anyone under 21. Then the Senate came in and was they're the deliberative body, so they changed it a lot. The Senate added where you can buy, liquor stores versus gas station. THC limits 5 milligrams versus 10 milligrams, criminal penalties, DUI rules. Then the House has three options: to agree with the Senate and the bill goes straight to the governor, disagree and the bill goes to a conference committee. But the Senate passed a compromise, but it now goes back to the House. So what exactly did the Senate do on this? The Senate did the Senate did this bill that was just the back and forth on it is what I found, because when I watched it there for a while, they had decided that they were not going to even act on it. They decided to take a little time and think about it. So the legislation limiting South Carolina sales of intoxicating hemp products to adults over 21 passed the Senate on Thursday in a compromise that took 2 weeks and a do-over vote to revive the bill following a past midnight rejection. Beyond limiting most sales to liquor stores, the amended bill restricts what's legal to beverages and gummies with no more than 10 milligrams of THC per serving. The 35-4 vote on Thursday came almost 17 hours after the effort seemed to blow up completely. Proposals on how to rein in sales of drinks and edibles infused with hemp-derived THC effectively legalized by the 2018 federal farm bill. You know, we had Representative John McCravey on last week, and he was saying that part of the push on this is because the federal government is changing their rules on how things will, how they will be able to distribute hemp products. And he said that South Carolina could become a dumping ground for these products. So that's what the big deal is. I don't know if that's exact. I mean, I do believe that probably there are some rule changes. So South Carolina needed to make a decision which way to go. But proposals on how to rein in sales of drinks and edibles infused with hemp-derived THC effectively legalized the 2018 federal farm bill have divided the GOP in both chambers over the past legislative sessions. In a state where marijuana remains illegal, legislators have genuinely agreed they want to keep the products that provide an alternative high out of children's hands, but they've been at odds over what should be legal for adults to buy. So, earlier this year, a chaotic divide amongst Republicans on the House floor resulted in a different bill banning most hemp products getting sent back to the committee that advanced it. So the bill has yet to resurface. Senators thought they'd found a compromise on Wednesday, their fifth day of floor debate, with amendments that make it illegal to drive after consuming THC and allow sales of one type of edible to adults, what that bill calls a hemp gelatin chewable. But a 10-hour debate ended with midnight with a 15 to 25 no vote on the bill, as Republicans who wanted a complete ban on all THC products joined with Democrats and a few Republicans who advocated for regulation. So then the senators realized killing the bill meant a wide array of THC-infused products stayed on shelves available for people of all ages to buy. There's still a lot of people who voted no who do not like the effect of voting no, Massey said. So then they go back, plus the dollars. They started looking at the dollars that it would take. So they have the other side includes small business owners who have been pleading with legislators to protect their livelihood and customers by regulating, not banning sales. Another vote in the Senate next week will return the amended bill to the House as it passed that chamber nearly unanimously last year. I don't know. This thing keeps going back and forth. What's in the bill? The bill says only liquor store can sell hemp beverages and gummies containing up to 10 milligrams of THC, which is what the liquor store lobbyists were pushing for, that only they be able to sell them so that so they would have a bigger market right there. That's defined as 10 milligrams per 12-ounce can or glass bottle, or up to 170 milligrams in a 750 milliliter container. For a hemp chewable, a serving is a single gummy. Other stores, including vape shops and CBD stores, have sprung up statewide since 2018, could only sell 12-ounce THC beverages capped at 5 milligrams, which must stay behind the counter. Do you see what I'm saying? Liquor stores can sell up to 10 milligrams in liquor stores, but other stores can only sell 5 milligrams. Selling to anyone under 21 would be punishable by up to 2 years in prison and a $5,000 fine on first offense. Repeated violations could result in up to 5 years in prison, a $10,000 fine, and loss of all operating licenses. On the other side of the sale, anyone under 21 who possesses, buys, or attempts to buy the products would face penalty of up to 30 days in jail and a $200 fine. The bill doesn't regulate or criminalize products that with only cannabinoid or CBD that aren't psychoactive. Unlike THC, CBD doesn't impair a user, according to the Centers for Disease Control, and often used in oils or lotions for pain relief. Senator Garrett shared senators who remained a steadfast no included Billy Garrett of Greenwood. His push for a complete ban came from personal tragedy, and this really is a very big tragedy. His son died several years ago now, and it was a drug overdose. Ultimately, the attempt at a complete ban failed at 18 to 22 last week. The 18 senators who voted for a full ban last week included Shane Massey, who told reporters he was worried about the products impairing drivers. So they now have an amendment for people driving. I mean, the bill goes on and on and on, but it is an ongoing saga down there in Colombia. What I think is interesting about the bill is they think they have things solved as to how they're going to proceed. And then they go back and they change their minds. I mean, maybe this happens a lot, but I don't think so. Where after midnight they vote on one bill and then they come in the next day and go, no, we can't do this. This is bad. So they change their mind. So I wanted to bring that one up because I thought we'll have to see what the House does with that. Will the House be able to ban it? I think that's the real question. And should they ban it? See, part of my question is how much should we all be regulated? You know, we think of ourselves as free people, but are we? Because every time we turn around, there's another regulation. In fact, there was an interesting interesting article about where is it? Crime in courts, maybe? Where is it? Let's see. Interesting article about, we all hear about how legislators, even the public, wants less regulations. And so if they're going to put a new regulation in, then they need to take a regulation out, right? Well, accordingly to an article I was reading last night, no. Some of these groups want to keep those regulations because there was a reason they were put in there to begin with. So they want to keep that regulation and now add more regulations. They say because they put the regulation in there, that doesn't mean they should take it out. And they were talking about all these boards that legislate or regulate everything from medical boards to auctions to hairdressers, all of these things where regulations seem to be something is they put regulations in. And so the people that have put the regulations in say, no, we can't get rid of any regulations. We need to keep those because they were there with purpose. So that was a big article out there. South Carolinians in various professional fields pushed back Thursday against a proposal that seeks to clamp down on the more than 80,000 do's and don'ts within state regulations. People who testified at a Senate hearing included nurses, physical therapists, occupational audiologists, soil classifiers, utility officers, engineers, surveys, dentists, accountants, real estate agents, and insurance agents, just to name a few. All told senators they support routine review of the rules governing how their businesses operate in the state. But one section of the bill goes too far. At list is 2-for-1 provision, which says an agency must propose the removal of 2 existing regulations for each new rule it seeks to add. Sounds like a plan to me. I mean, do we really think the legislation, the rules that were put into effect, 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago, would still be appropriate today? I remember some of the fun, and some of these, of course, are laws about how you can't play tennis on Sunday, you couldn't wash clothes on Sunday, the blue laws. Well, we pretty much, I don't know if we've ever taken those laws off the books, or do they just leave them there? But this has to do with a lot of the regulations that industry has to make sure that their people are up to snuff on things. The ones that we have now, the ones that we have now were put in place for a reason. We just didn't randomly make things up, said Andy Lee, owner of Lake Kiowa Real Estate and a member of the state's licensing board that oversees real estate agents. The fact of the matter is, any industry without a basic set of rules is chaos. Yeah, but how many rules do we need? How many rules do we need? So that is something that they are dealing with. Tiger Wells, a lobbyist for Duke Energy, said, on the rare occasion utility regulators make a new rule, they do so in a thoughtful way, through a process that allows power companies, utility watchdogs, environmental groups, and consumer advocates all to have a say. One of the bill's co-sponsors, State Senator Josh Kimbrell, who, remember, is running for governor, suggested that the 2-for-1 rule doesn't automatically put two existing regulations on the chopping block for each new one. It only puts their cancellation up for consideration, he said. But then he went on and said he is okay with amending the legislation. This is where Ron Reddy, who is now running for governor, who started Doge SC, that was one of their big things, is getting rid of excess legislation. There are rules that don't apply to today. Why should we keep all these things on the book? Which is very similar what to Elon Musk was when they were doing the Doge effect on the federal government. One of the stories that I think that would be interesting to know, and I don't know the answer to this, is what was the effect of Elon Musk on the federal government as far as doging the things they were doing? Because most of that has pretty much closed down, I think, because people just decided to walk away from it. But here in South Carolina, and we have political candidates that talk about doging South Carolina. I think that's good. And then you read something like this and you go, well, how are they going to get anywhere? So I don't know where it's going. I just found it interesting that the Republicans particularly, I would think Republicans, see, this is where I'm kind of confused about Republicans, because I thought Republicans were for less government, more, they weren't quite in the camp of the independents, but that they were on that side of things. And yet here they are saying, no, we need to keep this. Well, the people came forth and said, no, we need to keep these legislations. To me, it seems like there should be a fine-tooth comb done for each of the agencies. Maybe each of these agencies could go through and do their own review and then report back to the Senate that we have discovered we have 500 regulations we can get rid of. I mean, with 80,000 regulations, you'd think there'd be some that we could get rid of, right? Yes. All right. Well, I thought that was an interesting story to bring up here today. So, South Carolina regulations are in place for a reason, say opponents of the bill 2-for-1 cuts. You know what else is interesting? Is how when somebody feels that a bill or a policy is going to adversely affect them, like take away some of their power, they can get real enthused about going to Columbia and speaking up, can't they? Yes, they can. All right. So that was another story that I found very interesting, and one that we should be watching, because if we're not watching some of this stuff, right, we're going to miss out on knowing about what's happening. All right, we've got more stories, but we are about out of time here this morning. I don't know how I do this. I always have more stories than we want to talk about. But the big thing for you to remember this evening is coming up, I'm going to say between 7:15 and 7:30, we will be going live on Facebook and live on the radio to bring you my interview with South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson. Alan Wilson will be live right here in studio, first time in studio. And I appreciate the fact that he is going to take his time to come right here to Greenwood. So that is something that I think will be of note, and hope you tune in with us this afternoon. Penny will not be on camera this afternoon. This is serious. Also, coming up this week, tomorrow we have Brenda Feast from the Greenwood Women's Clinic will be here talking about what they do over there and the big Road to Life with Tim Tebow. And yes, that's right. And then we also have 24th. Then we have, who else do we have here? Dr. Valente with Self is going to be here on Thursday. So, and I'm just waiting to hear back on our Wednesday afternoon guest. So, this is what's happening right here on WCRS. Of course, I will be here each and every day. But don't forget about tonight. Pop-up interview with South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson, running for to be the governor of the great state of South Carolina. I would like to tell you about this one last story. You know, we all have a fascination with trains. In fact, coming up on April 2nd at 3:30, they will be doing the groundbreaking over there at the Railroad Historic Site for a new depot that will be being built there. And of course, we have done a lot on trains in the past. In fact, several years ago, we did the story where the Big Boy, where they put a gold spike to connect so that Big Boy, which is a huge train, very famous train, would be able to go east-west across this country. Well, they just announced that the historic 1.2 million pound Big Boy number 4014 locomotive will soon depart from the western leg of its first ever coast-to-coast tour, with new details about its eastern journey being released in a week or so. So how about this? The 133-foot-long locomotive, the only Big Boy to still travel the tracks, has made multiple well-attended tours since returning to service in 2019. And so they are going to have all these places. Now, the first part starts in the west, and of course, they'll be going to places in California. But they are coming to the East Coast, and they have all kinds of packages that they're putting together depending on how much you would like to be involved in it. So it's one that I'm going to follow and see if they bring anything close to where we are. So in Wyoming, let's see, they're starting in California, Porota, Orneville, Marysville, Lincoln, Roseville, Colfax, and then they are going on to Utah, then on to Wyoming. So this is just I think it's so cool. And I just wanted to mention that. And as we get ready to work on and have a depot here, this is one of the things that's going to make Greenwood such a destination place, is to have the Railroad Historic Site with a model of how a depot was back in the day. So they're having a groundbreaking April 2nd at 3:30. Sure would like you to come to that. And don't forget about getting your tickets for the Greenwood Museum's coming up in May, the Greenwood Derby, in honor of the Kentucky Derby. In fact, we'll be watching it right there on the news. All right, as we finish up, is there anyone else? Well, yes, this is true. The whole administration just keeps contradicting themselves. I would like to bring this point up. You know, Trump has said that ICE is going to start working to help with TSA because they're getting paid. TSA isn't. They're not supposed to have any role that requires a lot of training. They'll really be there to monitor and help move the traffic, move the people through the lines and everything. Well, I think it was last Thursday on Clay and Buck that a lady called in and said, why not have the ICE agents help with the TSA? I thought that was a terrific idea. I think Clay thought it was a terrific idea. And on Friday evening, President Trump must have thought it was a great idea. Although, it's now I understand Trump's idea to do this. No, it was a lady on Clay and Buck that came up with this idea. Because up to that point, I don't think anybody had that idea. Number two, Holman is trying to work with the Senate to see if they can get them to fund it. So far, it does not look that good. Like the Democrats are certainly holding out, and I understand President Trump has just tied the Save America Act, which is having to show an ID to register, a picture ID, to the funding there. And so we'll see how that all goes. But in the meantime, we are going to lose a lot of TSA agents who just can't afford not to get paid. This is a travesty. Hey, as I finish up here today, I want to say thank you for being right with us here today on WCRS. Okay, someone just made a comment. This is kind of interesting comment. I'll give her credit for that. If I was a TSA agent, I would be pissed off that ICE agents were there getting paid and I was not. Well, I think that is true, but that is why people need to respond to their senators, which in our case is Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott's office. Both of these are senators for our state, and we need to be making it known that this is ridiculous. They need to get off their duff and make it happen. The Democrats, in truth, are holding this up. There is no reason not to fund this. They have already gotten concessions. But as people that get concessions quite often do, they figure if they get an inch, they should take a mile instead of coming together and doing what's right for the country and for the people. And that's where our legislatures, in my opinion, lose it. They forget. They work for us. They're supposed to be our voice because however millions and billions of people, we can't all be there. So they're supposed to represent us. I can't imagine that even in the Democratic districts that people want to be inconvenienced like what we're seeing at the TSA. So I think they should realize they've already funded ICE. Why make the people of the Coast Guard, the TSA, and some other organizations suffer because they're pissed off at ICE agents? That just isn't really fair, is it at all? Hey, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS right here in Greenwood. Let's see, I got one more. Okay, that's the last message. That's a good one to end on. Penny, do you have anything to say here as we get ready to close out? Do you have anything to say? Are you ready for your breakfast? Yes, I'd like my breakfast. Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and close the show? That sounds like a good thing. I am ready to get out of here. A little bit of this show is good, but why do we have to do a whole hour? All right, I'm Ann Eller. That's going to do it for us. Penny and I are here today. Glad to be with you. This is WCRS Radio, and I hope I have my arm tomorrow because Penny's thinking I should give it up. All right, that's it. This is WCRS Radio. Drop the curtain and say adieu, Penny. Bye. There you go. This is WCRS Radio.